hand the microphone off to these two amazing guys. I actually have one more housekeeping item. Stay on through the remainder of the call for all of your attendees. We are doing a raffle to give 1 free year of featuring yourself in a zip code. We will offer a survey at the end. As long as you answer the survey question, you will get entered in that raffle, and we will actually show the winner of that raffle live during this webinar. So don't skip out early. So again, I hand the microphone off to you guys.
I love it. Thank you, Deanna. And thank you, Tom, for being here. This is our favorite podcast of the year. And we do a lot of these. One of the things that we try to do with our real estate agents is be far more than just a lead gen company.
Smart.
We are trying to help our real estate agents run successful businesses. And that includes these educational opportunities, right? And so thank you for being here. Deanna's right. I much prefer to have Deanna front and center for obvious reasons, but not the least of which is this is not my forte. I am much more comfortable behind the curtain, and so I'm excited to be here and a little bit nervous, but I'm glad that you'll be doing most of the talking, Tom.
Well, we got a chance to talk off camera. This is like my 4th show of the day, and I've got a few more. So I know for my friends out there watching, just a little friendly reminder, you're a media and marketing company disguised as a real estate professional, and whoever touches the most customers is the one that gets the opportunity to list and sell more properties. So, maybe just hear that as we start this conversation, because I'm sure, Matt, we're going to talk about sales and marketing and expectations for 2026 and what people should be wrapping their head around between now and the end of the year. And I got a whole list of things that if I was their personal coach, that I would almost like demand that they do in January and February to position themselves in the best possible way to help as many clients as they can. So I know we're going to get into all that stuff. So excited to be here as always, Matt.
Yeah. Awesome. And love every opportunity that we have to talk to you and to learn from you. In fact, maybe before we talk about 26, should we talk about 25? Should we talk about what's going on right now and what we've just been through? And it seems like it's a little bit of an echo chamber or a Groundhog Day, I should say, in that we talk about how kind of crazy these last couple of years have been. But as I think about that, and as I think about life in general, I'm no longer a spring chicken. I'm into my 50s. I've seen a few things, and what I'm coming to realize is this is life as we're gonna know it, right? Like there will always be some sort of chaos, and whether it's a government shutdown or rates at all-time lows and then spiking up to highs and all this kind of chaos. What I think is different is the media is really damn good now at making lots of noise and having us feel like the sky is falling.
Yes.
But what is your take? You've seen a lot, my friend. What is your take on where we are today and what this year has been and what the opportunities have been this year?
So first of all, I have a lot to unpack there, Matt. I spent a lot of time analyzing data. Most recently, I did a 5-decade-long research piece on home price appreciation in the last 5 decades and home price depreciation. Call it the 3 recessions, 1 global financial crisis, 1, driving, inflation through the roof, 2021 champagne and cocaine years of real estate. So there's a lot to unpack. The thing I would say to everybody out there is, you should spend some time on Grok or ChatGPT, and you should get really familiar with just asking the question, tell me about the last 5 decades in, Halifax, Nova Scotia, or wherever you are in the world, to really understand what's happened in your local marketplace. Because I'm going to share some national stats that are important, but you've got to drive it to a localized level. And then, create content, put it in your email newsletter, post it on all your social channels, but you want to go national, local. So high level, we are 38 months into a mortgage drought. We have never seen a time like this where refis are basically non-existent and purchase, went to 8%. And some people with bad credit, it was higher than 8% to buy their first home or buy a home. We also see for the first time ever that the first time home buyer today is 40 years old. Now, I think that's not just because of affordability, which is the hot button topic, that if you're watching this show right now and you're not doing Instagram Reels or Meta Reels or TikTok, talking about affordability, you're missing exactly what's happening in the world right now, certainly in the US. So a couple things to be aware of. First, on January 7th of 2025, we looked at the forecast for interest rates. And by the way, anybody that tries to make a living, on forecasting rates is poor. But what if I told you that on January 7th, MBA, Wells Fargo, everybody that matters when it comes to sort of, dissecting the interest rate environment, so we'd be at 6.36. Well, this morning we're at 6.34, right? So maybe for the first time in my 36 years, somebody actually was close and they actually beat it, right? So, but what we know today is affordability is still a major factor. But what we also know is, I'll back up, the transaction forecast for 2026. Matt, have you seen the latest data on this?
Yeah.
So if this year the consensus is we'll finish at 4.817 million transactions, remember, times 2 buy side, sell side, call it 700,000 of those new construction, their balance or resale. Next year, we're looking at 430,000 plus resale transactions to the mix. Now, we don't know where they're going to be. You can actually go to Grok and say, hey, the forecast for residential resale, new construction and resale is 5.257 million transactions next year. How many will be in Orange County?
Yeah.
How many will be in LA County, specifically Pasadena? And the reality is you can get that data, and you should be talking about that on all of your social channels, in your email, in your newsletters. Heck, you should do a long form video on it and then send a postcard to your database with a QR code to say, watch it here. So here's some things you should also know. The forecast for home price appreciation from 2025 to 2029. Matt, have you seen this yet?
I have, yeah. Yep. I just saw it the other day.
So the most pessimistic forecasters are saying 4.9% total 4.9% appreciation. The middle was like 16% appreciation over the 4 years, 25 to 29. And the outliers were 25.8% appreciation.
That's wild.
So dovetail that with sort of the affordability issue. Dovetail that with people are getting married later, having kids later, which is why that 40-year-old, first-time home buyer is probably more prevalent today, or more our reality today. What it tells me is, even with AI and everything else, every person watching today is really sitting in a great position. 2026 is going to be incrementally better. But the research, when I did the 5-decade-long study, Matt, the great thing coming out of the 80s, when the interest rates were like 18%, right? Or, the 90s, when we went into that first sort of real estate recession, or obviously 2007, 8, 9, 10. The great news is, and everyone should write this down, maybe even get a tattoo. And here's what it is. Every drought ends in recovery. Every drought ends in recovery. Every drought ends in recovery. And you know what we're in right now? It feels like, because I've been doing this forever, I don't know if it's 2011 post the global financial crisis, where Matt, like, the REOs are gone, minus maybe up and down the Mississippi. The short sales are happening, but they're few and far between. 2012 was kind of an electric year in residential real estate in the US. And by the time we got to 2013, heads up, everybody, listen carefully. By the time we got to 2013, the number one complaint amongst consumers and agents was, ready? There's no inventory. And we went from 2013 all the way to 2019 with an inventory drought, with a median, interest rate at like 5.25. So it was a very good economy. Then we had the champagne and cocaine 2020, 2021, 2022, followed by a much needed whiplash of inflation and rising interest rates. And now we're getting into a normalized recovery environment. So I hope today, Matt, we get into beyond just the sort of anecdotal sort of data points about the market and the economy and where things are going. We should talk about the 50-year loan, which is really interesting. It's controversial, but I have some insight on that. I have a bazillion views on a video I shot on it yesterday. The thing that if I were you out there listening, I would be thinking about, none of that stuff matters. What matters is how much reach I have, how much marketing I do, how many different good lead pillars I have to attract clients, because 2026 is going to be a banger. It's going to be a great year in comparison to the last couple of years.
Can I point out a few obvious things as you're saying this for our guests, perhaps if they aren't picking up on it themselves? One, listen to Tom. Tom knows his stuff. And my point in that isn't just that Tom knows his stuff. You too can know this stuff, right? So Tom, you do your homework, you're subscribing to the trades. You mentioned using AI to gather additional data, localized data perhaps. So as you're talking about, we're marketing companies and perhaps in disguise, but we're marketing companies.
That's right.
There's your opportunity to talk and to be a marketer and what to talk about, because as you talk, we all feel credibility from you. We say, man, this guy knows his stuff. But
that's right.
What you're talking about is all information that any of us can have and have access to, perhaps with the exception of your 50-year study, which by the way sounds amazing and intensive, right? But the point is, you are your expert in your field, as each of the individuals on this call can be an expert in their local field. Am I wrong?
And Matt, I want to double down on that for all my friends out there. Between now and the end of the year, I'm gonna go to 30 Christmas related, Thanksgiving, Friendsgiving, Thanksgiving. And I don't think any of you would be shocked to hear that whether I'm home in Dallas or wherever I am in the world, Ferry, how's the market? It's the number one question I get.
Yeah.
Right. I have a buddy who co-owns an NBA team. And like every time I see him, he's like, Ferry, how's the market? What's going to happen next? Should I be buying more real estate? Should I be selling real estate? What's going to happen with AI? What's going to happen with crypto? I'm like, whoa, way out of my pay grade, man. But I can talk about housing. And I know every person watching, you're going to have the same thing. Shout out to Keeping Current Matters, right? Who, Matt, the guys, David over there, Bill. Yeah. They're my number one source of truth. Then I go to Housing Wire, then I go to Bloomberg, then I go to Grok, and I just do hard facts on the data. You're going to have hundreds of conversations between now and the end of the year, and absolutely what you say matters. I have friends that are like, oh my God, like, Ferry, are you okay? Like, the banking world's falling apart. AI is going to eliminate all of you. And I'm like, what planet are you from? Like, what news channels are you reading?
Yeah.
Right. So, we need to be the purveyors of good data, not inaccurate data, not falsifying data, not hyping up data, but like, hey, we should be selling 7 million homes a year based upon demand right now. And the fact that we're going to get to 5.2 is way better than 4.8. And next year, I'm sure it's going to be closer to 6 million, because we're going to see rates in the mid fives.
Yeah.
So like, things are on the upward tick, which means if I'm a buyer today and I've been waiting, one of the best marketing pieces, Matt, every one of your listeners should put out, is go on Instagram stories and type in the following, like, I would buy a house when rates finally get to, and then you could do a poll and say, like, 6.15, 6, 5.92, and watch how many people respond to that. And by the way, on Instagram polls, every one of you should do that. It'll be really interesting for you. And then I would do a question, like, on Instagram polls is one thing, can A, B, C, D, multiple choice. Questions is where you say, tell me the question you have, or answer a question for me. And the question I would ask my Instagram followers today, Meta, Facebook, Instagram, is how long have you been waiting to buy your first home? How long have you been waiting? You're going to learn so much about your own friends in your database by asking those two the polling question and the other question. And then, by the way, everyone that answers, Matt, exactly who they are. So you can also DM them, call them, have a conversation. It's an easy no-brainer idea. But I know we're going to get to marketing, and I have literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marketing ideas I want to share with everybody that they should start doing now through probably February to crush the next 3-4 months.
Can I point out one other observation? As Tom's talking, the other thing that you are exuding is optimism, is positivity, right? Like, it's interesting. I actually was talking to a real estate buddy of mine recently, and his attitude was absolutely down.
I know.
This is the worst. When is this going to end? Kind of a thing, right? And I thought, well, that's not a guy I'm going to hire next time I want to sell my house, right? And so you talked about these 30 opportunities that you've got even in person in your own sphere of influence over these next several weeks, where positivity is key, is it not?
I want to say lead with facts and data. Lead with facts and data. And I am bullish on the data. I mean, I'm bullish. Hey, December 9th, if you're on Polymarket, and you all should be on Polymarket, on Polymarket, it's 71% of the people betting on the Fed lowering the rate by 25 basis points. And like 3% are saying it could be 50 basis points. And if you don't know Polymarket, like they predicted the mayoral election in New York City like months ago. They predicted all the governor races months ago. So, we know that doesn't always correlate to an immediate drop because most of that pricing is probably going to be baked in already in December. So we should expect, some moderate decreases in the interest rate, certainly between now and then. And afterwards, who knows? Remember last time it went up afterwards. So, I would be sending like the rate drop text that we talk about so much on a lot of my content. Hey, did you hear that the rates dropped and the affordability now is, $300 more in your favor, or your average mortgage payments now $300 less than it was this time last year. Those types of text messages to all your buyer leads right now, that's golden. That's like send 20 texts. You're going to have like 15 good conversations and probably be showing people like 5 or 6 people houses. So like that kind of stuff is really timely and important right now.
Oh, I love it.
One thing I would add to, the voice from the shadows, is a lot of people, especially if you've been in the business for a long time, have gotten into the habit of thinking about like the seasonality of real estate, that it only happened in spring and summer. And in my opinion, and Tom, you can tell me if you think different, I think that thought process is completely gone. And if you're thinking in that legacy mindset of, I take the time off in this like in the winter time, there's no selling, there's no anything, like you are missing out on so much business because there is no time to sell anymore. There's no peak season. It is year round.
Okay. So yes and no, market by market, right? So if you're in Naples, Florida, then you're now in the peak market right now.
Correct.
Right? But if you're most of the continental US, certainly the Northeast is going to be slower, with snow and weather, et cetera. But yes, transactions are done, but it truly still is a bell curve in terms of transactions closing more so in the second quarter, more so in the third quarter, and then sometimes a big lagging fourth quarter. But the argument I would make to support what you're saying is every day I don't market between now and the end of the year, every day I don't make phone calls between now and the end of the year. Whatever you do, smoke signals, open houses, there's a million ways. I'm going to show everybody today, like one thing that they can do to get like 5 deals from AI, like in the next 12 months, like for free. Like I'm going to give them all that stuff. But Deanna, every day that I don't do marketing, I take my income and I push it out into the future. And I tell people all the time, like, if you own a gas station, would you be open 3 days a week? 2 days a week, 1 hour a week, or would you be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week if you could? And that needs to be the mindset for everybody. Like, no one's going to come save you in 2026.
Yeah.
Right. Your goals are going to require a different version of you. And I say this to myself. That's actually, Matt, my personal, I have like 7 different coaches that work with me. I'm kind of a mess. My one specific sort of business coach is a gal named Dr. Julie Gerner. She is prolific on X and all kinds of other things. And when her and I talked, one of the things she said to me last year was, hey, Tom, I think your goals are going to require a different version of you. And what that meant for me as a CEO, as a dad, as a father, husband, everything else was, I'm going to need more systems in place. I'm going to need to buy back some time and some freedom. And I'm going to have to make sure that the marketing machine, I can't go a day without posting content.
Yeah.
If I do that, just like that, I'm out of the ethos of everybody else. Like I need to be present every single day. And I'd make the argument for the person listening, like you need to have 5 or 6 different lead generation sources. And you got to figure out a way to make sure that all those are firing all the time. And yes, one of the big ones is you got to get on the phone. AI can't replace you yet.
Yeah.
You got to do it. So again, but everyone listening, they know that, right? So Deanna, the hard part is like, how do we get them to actually take action at the level that makes sense for them? I just know if you don't make your calls now, what you're saying is I'm totally cool being broke November, December, January, because it's always a 60, 90, 120 day lag between meet the lead, get them under contract and close. Yeah.
The work you're doing right now is setting yourself up for your springs 100%. And your summers.
Yep. 100%.
By the way, to emphasize that point and your point, D, we run a national business, right? So we're at sold.com, we're running national lead gen, et cetera. And interestingly, for you on the call, we talked about kind of the mentality in the media noise with interest rates, and rates are coming down. Whether they do or not as it relates to mortgage is almost irrelevant to a certain extent. And what I say that for is because the last 3 months at sold.com have been our best 3 months for listings in 3 years, in that 38-month drought that you've been talking about. So it's interesting, Tom. We haven't changed our marketing spend. We haven't doubled down. We haven't done a whole lot to change the top of the funnel. What we've done is we've kept making the calls and kept trying to run a smart business. And interestingly, there is no seasonality for sold.com as a Q4. All of a sudden we're taking off, and we couldn't have known when to plan for that. And we hope it continues.
And we know that's a leading indicator for everybody listening. Because so I'm experiencing the same thing in my business, right? You're experiencing the same thing, but there's a correlation in that marketing is automatic now, right? The emails are going out. We're running the ads, right? We're spending whatever we spend on all the different platforms to generate as much high intent as possible. And every person listening should be saying, yeah, I'm probably not spending enough on my Google AdWords. I'm not doing enough with sold, I'm probably just not doing enough. And maybe, just maybe, that's all you needed to hear today to say to yourself, you're a good agent, you're great with clients, but you need, remember, I love Lucy and the Chocolate Factory, Matt, Lucy and Ethel, the chocolate's coming down. If you've never seen that before, you should Google it. It's when the world was black and white. And I love Lucy and Ethel. The chocolates are coming down the conveyor belt slowly, and they're able to take the client, take care of them, put them in escrow, close one at a time. Then all of a sudden the manager goes, speed it up. Well, everybody needs to acknowledge you have to speed up lead generation today, because I'm actually looking at some data. So one of my clients, so this might be of interest to you. So listen to this, Matt, just kind of fun fact. I love tracking and measuring because it helps us make better decisions. So my clients, DJ and Lindsay, shout out to DJ and Lindsay. They're in Orlando, Palm Beach, and their main hub is St. Augustine, Florida. I think like Jacksonville, but on the beach. Mm-hmm. So we tracked 162 closed transactions. So listen to this. In 2021 versus 2025. So 2021, 162 closed transactions. These are all online leads. 162 closed in 2025. In 21, 8% of the people that came through our funnel bought in the first 30 days. In 2025, that number is cut in half to 4. Longer sales cycle. In 2021, months 2 and 3, 27% of the people that were going to buy of the 162 bought in months 2 and 3. So call it 27 and 8, 35% did something essentially in the first 3 months. Then look at this year. It was 4% in the first 30 days, and it was only 17% in months 2 and 3. So what we're seeing is longer sales cycles requires more lead generation, requires more at bats. Matt, I shouldn't share this, and I would never say my client's name, but it's not just leads. The bigger issue, what these numbers really point to, check this out. In 2025, 22% of the people, of the 162 people that bought a house from this specific team, 22% of them bought month 13, 14, 15, 16 from the day the lead was generated. 32% of the people that bought in month 6 through month 12. So what is that? 54% of the leads were either 6 to 14 months. Now, I'll share a horrific stat. One of the guys that I coach personally, we everybody knows August 17th last year, single party show agreement, buyer brokerage agreements, all these sort of new regulations turned out to be not that big of a deal, but for a while people were in a bit of a panic. So there, let's just say this team's at 1,200 transactions at the beginning of September. We started to track a very interesting stat, and I'll tell you what it revealed. The stat I wanted to track was what percentage of the time does an online lead sign a single party show agreement, like a 1-day, maybe multiple property show agreement, And then, what's our conversion on that? And our conversion's pretty good, right? I mean, it's probably like 20%. So like in the scheme of things for a really big operation, that number's good.
Yeah.
But what if I told you what we discovered with a little MLS research was, they were at 1,200 sales, but 518 buyers signed a single party show agreement, went out with one of our salespeople, and then bought a house from another real estate agent.
Ooh.
500. He lost 518 transactions. But Tom, what's his average sales price? It's only $385,000, but that's a lot of volume and a lot of commission. So I hope as you're listening to this, you're getting, it's more lead generation. It's more consistent lead generation, but it's got to be more. It's got to be more at bats. And then sales cycles are longer, right? Because of whatever, right? Their situation, the economy, we're uncertain, interest rates, we're waiting, whatever it is. Sales cycles are longer. And worse, if we don't follow up like crazy with all these customers, they buy from somebody else. Remember the rule, Matt, like you guys are in the best position on the sell side. On the buy side, here's what the consumer says. I don't care who the agent is. Show me the house. That's all they care about. I don't care who the agent is. Show me the house. On the sell side, they're like, how's their transactions? What do their reviews say? They do a lot more research on the sell side, but on the buy side, by and large, it's just like, I just need somebody to open the door for me. So I don't know. A lot of person to think about here. A lot of stuff going on inside my head here.
I'm going to pull back the curtain and I'm going to give you a live screenshot from our system. And Deanna might panic here, but I want to show this very point you just made.
Yeah.
This is our listing conversion. When we get a hold of a customer and we get in there, we get one of our agents into their door. You can see that this first few months, it's slow. This 2025 timeline, I hope you all can see this. It's slow. But the reason I'm pointing this out, by the way, is this 38-month drought is this whole half of the screen. Yeah. But what you notice is it actually is a pretty linear trajectory after this first few months. The first few months are rough right now, but they do go. And they, last year they went, the year before they went, and they've actually gone at just a consistent time over time clip. Yes. Even in spite of this drought. So yes. I love your point, which is that it is more lead gen, consistency. And by the way, I mentioned, these last 3 months were really good for us. One thing that we have done differently is we've actually created a voice AI model within our business, yes, which has allowed us to make more phone calls to our customers that are starting to age, that we were starting to do what many agents do, where it's like, they weren't ready to go. I can't afford to call them anymore. I got bigger fish to fry. Well, we've made it a priority to fry those fish and to actually make those calls. And that is what we've done different. We haven't bought more, spent more money at the top. We've actually just done a better job of farming what we already bought.
And so just for fun, and I know, Deanna, if I ask this question, hopefully we can show me some of the results. I'm curious for everybody out there. Just tell me in the comments, approximately how big is your database? So your database can be your past clients, your sphere, your farms. It could be, your church list that you shouldn't have put inside there, but you did anyway. Like, how big is your database? And can I see that, Deanna, in the chat? From my perspective, I don't see much of anything because it's been sort of fixed. So if you can move that around, I'd be super curious to see what everybody's going to say.
Let me see how I can get you visibility to it. And while I'm doing that, I'll read off some stats for you. I'm seeing a lot of 2,000s, 3,000s. I'm seeing a couple hundreds. I've got Phil Farmer with 34,000 people in his database. Brooks Trisler with 30,000 people in her database. But I would say most people right now, they're about 1,200, 1,500. And you've got some people with some really big databases that they're sitting on right now.
Okay. So Brooks and the gentleman are probably going to hate me when I share this number. The bigger your database, sometimes the worse your conversion, right? Yeah. Because your marketing strategy typically is called spray and pray, right? Like I'm going to send a bunch of emails and hope that they respond. And they do. And if you have a database that big, you're a legend. You've done a lot of things right. But if you took your data I would go to like your favorite title exec. If it's someone at F&F, because they are part of a company called Milestone. So any one of the F&F, Fidelity National Financial brands, they can get this for you. Maybe your Stewart title, maybe your First American. I don't know. But I know the F&F team can. They should run your entire database through how many people in your database have transacted in the last 12 months with or without you. And I think many of you will discover that your 30,000 person database, well, let's just do the math really fast. Like my OG calculator. I've had this since I was 19, ladies and gentlemen. Done $1 bazillion in deals on this. So 34,000 at 5% conversion. So Brooks should have had 1,700 transactions in her database. That's what the data shows. That's at just a 5% conversion. Let's say her market's been completely stuck and she's only at like 2% conversion. Well, 2% is still 680 transactions. So if she didn't do 680 transactions, what we know with absolute certainty is those agents, those consumers, found someone else, which again, I know, Matt, we want to get into it. I'd love to just jump into this now, which is,
let's do.
What does Brooks and every person out there with 12 or 13 or 1,800 or 2,000 people in their database need to be thinking about between now and the end of the year? So I'm going
to with a couple of million.
Well, there you go. Well, listen, I mean, that is, listen, I'm a huge fan of the company. I'm an investor in the company. I put money into this. The first time I heard about it, I think it was from my buddy Steve Azonian, right? Who got me into this.
Yes, sir. And we appreciate you for it. You were a believer early.
Right. 100%. Well, because, okay. And I'll get in trouble for this. Because Zillow's not your friend. And, Zillow's new stuff on Follow Up Boss, Zillow's new class action law, the second class action lawsuit, like, don't even get me started. Right. But like, smart agents understand if you're myopic, if you are a one-trick pony, like the number of people that have come to me in my last 35 years and said, hey, I just worked my past clients in Sphere. I'm like, you're a liar. And they're like, and I go, don't lie to me. Like, we're friends. Don't lie to me. They're like, no, I'm serious. I go, have you done an open house this year? They're like, well, yeah. And I'm like, then shut up. You don't work by referral, right? Do you have a Google business page? Yeah. You ever run Google logo search? Well, yeah, but it's mostly by referral. I'm like, okay, look, that's great. You need to have 6 different lead pillars. In my mind, you got to have 6 different lead pillars, some of which are going to be things like sold.com and Google business page or Google logo services ads. My fundamental belief is the consumer deserves a high quality real estate professional, someone watching this training right now. The consumer deserves a better experience. So we got to cast a larger net. We do have to generate more leads. We have to nurture them more. We have to follow up more. Or you know what? They find some knucklehead. And all you have to do is look right now. Do you know expired listings are up 57% year over year?
Wow.
57% year over year up. So ready? I'm going to give a bunch of campaigns. If I was their coach, so Matt, cut me off, interrupt, do whatever you want. The first thing I would tell everybody is, if you have not closed a transaction this year from Perplexity, ChatGPT, or Grok, get out from under the rock and do what is required. Here is what's required. Number 1, you have to update all of your bios. All of your bios. I'm going to give them all the sites, by the way, Matt, that they have to sign up for. And again, I don't know any of these sites. I'm just going to tell you what I'm telling all my best clients. I just had 150 team leaders, Matt, in a room in San Diego for a couple of days, like a team retreat, kind of set their vision for next year. And 95% of them have done 3 or more transactions so far this year from AI. And I had one at 15. So here's what it is. You ready? I'm going to give you the list from my friend out there. Here's what I need you to do. I'm scrolling through one of my little trainings here, so be patient. Okay, you got to update your bios for generative engine optimization, AKA for all AI tools, because here's the fun fact. You ready? 82% of consumers are now using an AI tool to find their home, do their research, and find their agent. 82%. Now you go, wow, that's a really startling number. Well, I can remember when, 80% of consumers were using video versus reading on ESPN or Fox News or CNN, et cetera. So we're in the middle of a transition period now where everybody's realizing like Google is super antiquated. It's super antiquated. Thank God for Gemini. Otherwise, their $80 bazillion a year would have gone in the tank. So understand that. So your bio has to have things like your full name. Listen to me. If your Instagram bio says you love cats and drinking wine, I want to punch you in the face. Like, I'm not being rude, but like, my God, like no one is going, I need a cat loving real estate agent who drinks like an alcoholic. Like no one's doing a search for that I'm aware of. You got to tell in your bio who you serve. I specialize in first time buyers. I specialize in lakefront luxury. I specialize in Nellie Gale in Orange County. You need to have in your bio your lifetime number of transactions, and every month you want your bio to update with the new number of closings you have for the year. If you keep fresh content in your bio, all you have to just remember is the AIs are lazy. They're lazy. Make it as easy as possible for them to select you. You need to tell it the number of reviews you have on Google or Zillow or wherever you have them, because it's gated content. So like I go and say, hey, how many reviews does Tom Ferry have? It's like 15, and the next one says 15,000. I'm like, no, I have like, 1,500, right? Like, so you have to tell it how many reviews you have in your bio. Any notable recognition, the most successful house, the most reviewed in the marketplace, the highest sale, whatever it may be. And then, my God, do I have to tell you on your Instagram bio, have your cell phone and your email? So that's one. The second thing, I'm going to go rapid fire. So I know you guys are recording this.
We are.
And Matt, I can maybe send you all the notes and you can provide all the notes for everybody. You need to update all of your profiles on the following. Ready? Fast Expert, Rate My Agents, Effective Agents, Bing Places, Birdeye.ai, Yelp, especially if you're in the top 10, Angie, Google Business Page, Real Trends, Medium and Substack, Sold.com, your MLS, if they allow you to build a profile, your website, your personal website, redo your bio, get a photo that looks like you, your company's website, if you could put a bio there, all three meta platforms, YouTube, Pinterest, X.ai, LinkedIn, Quora, Zillow, Realtor, Homes, Redfin, Nextdoor, and HomeLight. And if you just do all of that, and every now and then when someone calls you and you go, gosh, how'd you hear about us? They're like, oh, I was on Grok. I was on ChatGPT. They're almost like embarrassed to say it. It's like the early days of like dating on apps, right? But you know what's coming. By the time we get to the end of next year, it's going to be the only way they find people. So here's the next thing I want you to be aware of. So if number one is redo your bios, and number two is make sure all the profiles across every major real estate potential platform is complete. So you're going to be the most found person in that marketplace. The next step, and I'm going to give it to you two ways. So Matt, I have been talking about this strategy for 18 months. And when I think about like my best friend on the planet, shout out to Kurt Kessel and his partner, Dwayne. They are the number 3 team in the country for Compass. Most transactions, and I think number 7 on volume. They'll do 780 transactions this year. Ready? Don't be mad. No online advertising at all.
Wow.
Like no pay to play, no sold, no Zillow, no realtor, nothing. Just, but they're really good creating online content, right? Similar to my client, Ken Pozek, who will sell 750 homes this year in Orlando. And it's almost all through his YouTube channel. But here's what my guys got. So I tell them blogging is the easiest way to train the AI that you're the best agent. And my best friend Kirk of like 30 years rolls his eyes. Oh God, Tommy, I think I can't even write my own damn contracts. My assistant does that. Like I'm not a writer. And I'm like, you don't need to be. You go to my buddy Neil Patel's website. It's called answerthepublic.com. Answerthepublic.com. You type into the search bar real estate. You will see 2,784 unique questions that consumers are asking across, listen carefully, Google, Bing, TikTok, Amazon, YouTube, and Instagram. So it's scraping in real time all the questions that are being asked. And you can, all of you, my friends, for free, which is in everybody's budget, just start posting 3 to 5 blogs a day on LinkedIn and on your website. And maybe, on your Google business page and, one a day on the Facebook and one a day on Instagram. And over time, you will train the AI that you're the source of truth. You're the one answering the questions on the minds of consumers. Wow. So get this, Matt. I'm in my Dallas office. Studio A. Studio B is over there. I do these crazy masterminds, and I've got like 38 people that traveled in from like the US, Canada, and Mexico to spend a day with me. Dinner the night before, super fun, and then all day deep, like start at 8, go till like 7 o'clock at night where everybody's just exhausted. One of the strategies was this strategy. And I said, hey guys, I told you to do this in August. Who's done it? One guy raised his hand. I'm like, all right, Mo, tell us your story. He's like, hey, Tom, you said, do like 3 to 5 on LinkedIn and do 3 to 5 on your Google business page, put 3 to 5 on your site. And he said, and then I know you made this comment. Don't worry if it's slightly off because no one's ever going to read your blog. And I said it kind of tongue in cheek. He said, so I was sitting at my house one night, drinking a bottle of wine, and I went to answer the public, and I took 500 questions. I turned it into Grok and said, make me look like the greatest real estate agent in my marketplaces. It's like Surrey, BC, Canada. And it writes 500 blogs. And you know what he did, Matt? He posted all of them that night.
He just went for it.
He just said, copy, paste, save, right? So he posts 500 AI. Now, when he said this, I'm like this, because I say, write the blog, read the blog, edit the blog, especially if you're going to put it on LinkedIn or your Google business page, like no one goes to your website. Sorry, my friends, no one goes to your website. So like, who cares, right? But here's what he said to me. He goes, I didn't put him on LinkedIn. I didn't put him on I just put him on my website. And the next day I grabbed my wife's phone and guess who was the number one agent in the marketplace?
No.
The most recommended, the most referred agent. Now, I'm not telling all of you to just arbitrarily add 500 blogs, or maybe I am. Maybe I am. Like, I'm telling you, if you just do what I say, if you do 3 to 5 every day, people go like this, oh my God, man, that's so many blogs. I'm like, no, it's not. My wife goes on the New York Post like every day, and there's like 500 new articles for her to read every day. So you as a real estate agent posting 3 to 5 is nothing. And besides, no one goes to your website anyway. No one's going to be looking at it. I'm writing all these blogs. So the generative engine optimization, and by the way, SEO, search engine optimization, makes you the lucky one. That's what I want you to do. So that was like my number 2 thing before I give you the really big one, which everyone's going to make a fortune on in the next 60 days. So Matt, comment on that one first, or should I go right to the big opportunity?
Oh, you can't throw that tease out. Let's hear it. And by the way, I'm watching the blog in the system right now, and people are eating it up. So let's just go. Good. And my friends, please, because I can't see really anything. I see the hearts and all that kind of stuff, but I can't see like if you guys are asking questions. So maybe Deanna, like if people are asking questions, you could flag some of those and tell us. Yeah, right. In fact, maybe we ought to take a quick pulse check. Is there a theme that's coming through? I'm not keeping up with all these comments either, but is there a theme that we ought to tee up for Tom?
Not really. I think you're answering the questions as we go. The biggest question is, am I going to get these notes? And the answer is yes. So I am taking those notes, and we'll have everything out and the recording.
Yeah. And Deanne, I'll send you a bunch of slides to make it super. We want to make it as easy as possible for everybody to execute on this. By the way, so, if you don't drink, you don't have to drink wine and post the blogs. But if you do drink, I don't know, maybe it's a good Friday night thing to do. But what we know to be true, because we do this inside Matt in our business, like I was like, okay, real estate training, real estate coaching, grow my business, all the keywords that I know real estate professionals are putting into all these sites. And so we're publishing 3 to 5 blogs every day, and I'm watching my organic traffic climb through the roof.
Yeah.
And that's all. Like, I like FREE free because it's in everybody's budget.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And by the way, with the tools that are out there today, to your point, right, it isn't hard to write these blogs, right? You can get help, you can, I also advocate for reviewing what help you've gotten before you post it.
Yes.
But nonetheless, it isn't sitting down with a typewriter anymore.
No. And by the way, if you add your MLS data to it, like on an SQL file, like that really makes the blog super rich. Okay. So Matt, you're a real estate agent anywhere in the US, you're my client. And I say to you, Matt, 57% increase in expireds year over year. But more importantly, you're like, but Tom, I don't like expireds. And I would look at you and go, I don't care. What are you talking about? Do you like listings? Right? Do you like helping people? Right? We know. And by the way, another fun fact, 54% increase, spike year over year, 54% increase in withdrawn listings in the last 30 days.
Can I add one more?
Yeah, give it to us.
Sold.com owns a for sale by owner website. We end up converting those over to sold.com leads as they fail as FSBOs. And guess what we hear from our real estate agents? I don't like FSBOs. Well, I got news for you all my friends on this in this podcast. That is our number one converting traffic is FSBOs who have thrown in the towel, right? So whatever your mindset is about expireds, about FSBOs, about cancel listings, check yourself because it is gold.
And by the way, wasn't that the way we first met?
It is.
Because you guys came to me, you're like, we're this FSBO site. And I'm like, oh, look, man, I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of for sale banners. I love real estate agents. You're like, no.
Yeah, you're getting it wrong.
On the 61st day, they ping us and say, this isn't working. What do you recommend? And I was like, oh, okay, I'm investing in your company and I'm going to introduce you to everybody.
And that really is our model, friends. We've got a FSBO site that helps FSBOs get their homes sold. And you should know that 84% of them end up raising their hand after a few weeks or months and saying, all right, that sucked. That was way harder than I thought. What do you got?
For sure.
Right?
So everybody write down this name, Doug Edrington, EDRANGTON, Doug Edrington. If you go to my YouTube channel and you type in Doug Edrington FSBO, I don't think there's anybody better in the country. So he sells like 650 homes a year and like 200 of them are for sale by owners. Like they just, and he has,
awesome.
He's like Chattanooga, Tennessee. Hey man, how's it going? Sorry, it didn't work out. We'd love to support. And can I just come by the house and ask you? I mean, like he's so soft and lovely that it would make everybody go, okay, I can do that. But let's talk expireds. So here's what we know. Somewhere between 145,000 and 180,000 expired listings will hit the market the first week of January. So let's just add up the math. Median sales price, 2.5%, commission. You're talking about a $2 billion GCI jump ball the first week of January. Now, when I hear this, maybe Matt, because I married a beautiful Italian who says to me, go make more money. Like I'm a capitalist. Like, I don't care what the lead source is. I think the consumer deserves a better quality experience. So I'm going to go after every expired listing. I have so many clients. I used to get this typical text because I've been doing this for a long time. January 1st. Oh my God, Tom, do you think I can do it again? I had my best year ever. Think I can do it again? I don't get that text anymore. You know what I get now? Oh man, I woke up on New Year's Day at 5 a.m. I went to the gym. I, got in a cold plunge. I had my shake. And then I've been on the phone since 7:30 this morning because I'm going to make $200,000 this week just by helping people that listed with the wrong agent, that it didn't work out. And by the way, Matt, everybody should be listening to this. I wrote a script for my dad with my older brother back in like 1992. And it was for calling expireds. And it went something like this. Ring, ring, ring. Hey, Matt. Hey, this is Tom over at Banana Real Estate. I'm sure you figured out that your home came up on our system this morning as a listing contract that's expired. And I'm curious, when do you plan on, interviewing agents for the job of selling your home? We wrote that script a million years ago, right?
Yeah.
And if you're using that script, hi, it's 2025. We're 60 days away or 45 days from 2026. The conversation needs to be today. Just try this on for my friends out there. I think of like my client, Shauna Covington in Laguna Beach, California, when she was like, I've never worked expireds. I'm like, Shauna, you're like a legend in the marketplace. Send them letters. Here's 7 letters you can send to expireds. And if heaven forbid you called them, you can just call and say, hey, this is Shauna Covington. I'm so sorry to hear that your home didn't sell. I was reviewing your property on the MLS and I saw like 7 glaring mistakes. And I'm just curious, like, would you like to know the 7? Like a lot of your friends out there, like Brooks, who's got 34,000 people. She's a legend in her marketplace. Yeah. She's so well known that don't take this like robotic approach. These people, I describe it as like, if we were going to, Tom and Kathy Ferry's wedding and Kathy left in the middle of the ceremony and bailed on me, that's the emotion an expired listing has. You with me? And then you call with a robot nonsense. I'm sure you figured out that your home. I'm number one and I'm the best agent. And you made a mistake and we'd love to come over. And no, man, have some empathy for these people. It's the new year. Their hopes and dreams were potentially crushed. And now they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. Now, someone just said, hey, what do you do if you don't have phone numbers? Well, there's a lot of different ways to get phone numbers these days. So that should be easy, but don't call anybody that's on the do not call list. Yeah. Instead, let me share a postcard that we just created that is absolutely crushing right now. And I will include this, but here's what the postcard says. Ready? Half the postcard is text. The other half is just what looks like a blotted out photo of a house from Zillow with no pertinent details. Can't put the address, can't do a photo of the house, but just clearly we know what it is, right? And here's what the postcard says on the front. This home did not sell. So it goes 1 through 7. Number 1, only 12 photos, needs 22 to 27. Listings with under 9 photos get half the clicks. Number 2, priced at $700,000 versus $699,999. Right? Charm pricing boosts clicks 8 to 10%. Number 3, no video tour. Listings with video get 403% more inquiries. And we go all the way down to 7, right? Then on the front of the postcard, for the person that doesn't have phone numbers, you could just redo this postcard and just leave it at their door. Just slide it in, right? Leave it at their door, because when they read this and they're like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, this is like our situation.
Yeah, this is me.
Right? On the front cover of the postcard, it says, again, depending upon what kind of mailing service you use, either says, hey, first name, or it says, dear neighbor. I removed the seller's details to protect their privacy, but here's what actually happened. It sat for 93 days, got only 2 showings, and had under 300 views on Zillow. By comparison, a similar home I sold nearby had 8 showings, 1,230 plus views, and sold in 46 days. And then in bold print, same market, period, same price range, period, different results, period. The difference is the details. If you're thinking about selling and you aren't sure who to hire, consider this as my application. I'd love the chance to show you how I can help you get the results you're looking for. My personal sell is X. Now, we designed that initially to say, why wouldn't we just send this to our geographic farm? Why not send this to our database? And all my smart clients were like, well, I'm just going to take out that one thing. If you're thinking about relisting your home, I'd like to apply to make it relevant to the expired or the for sale by owner. There's just so many opportunities. We built a 30-page blueprint in 2024 called the Expired Listing Blueprint. And I don't know how, but we're going to figure out a way to get it to everybody out there, because there's only, it looks like 998 people watching right now. Yeah. And if we get 10% of them to go help, they're all going to make several $100,000 in commissions that they weren't planning on in 2026. And Matt, they'll do it in the first, they're going to talk to him in January and put it back on the market in spring. They're going to talk to him in January and put it back on the market in February because they got a job transfer, whatever it is. But the data actually shows that 2/3 of the expireds go with another agent, and only 1/3 relist with the same agent, which has prompted a letter that we wrote that was wildly successful all year long. And the letter basically goes like this, like, hey, I can only imagine how you feel. Since your listing contract expired in the MLS, you've probably been bombarded by agents calling and screaming from the rooftops that they're number one and they could do it better. I just want to be clear with you. I'm sorry that it's happened. A home like yours doesn't sell for only one of 3 reasons. Number 1, it wasn't priced correctly. Number 2, it didn't show well. Number 3, it wasn't exposed properly. If you believe the only reason your home didn't sell is that it wasn't priced correctly, throw this letter in the trash, call your agent, relist the home, and just get a better price. But if you believe it was more about number 2 and 3, I did spend some time this morning looking at your property in the MLS and on Zillow, and I discovered 5 glaring holes that would have clearly created a problem and have your property ultimately not sell. If you'd like to have a conversation about those 5 to 6 things, whether you decide to list with me or list with someone else in the future, either way, I'm here to serve. I'm your neighbor.
Oh, I love it. And Tom, like
that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And by the way, the chat's going wild. So yes, everyone, we will disseminate this information that Tom has offered, because this is absolute gold. And Tom, I know we're coming up on the hour.
I know, man. And I'd like 2 more campaigns. Hey, can I would be the worst business coach. Everyone write down this script, by the way. I would be the worst business coach on the planet. I would be the worst business. Now you're going to say I'd be the worst real estate agent on the planet. I would be the worst real estate agent on the planet if I didn't ask you, have you had any thoughts of selling? And I'm going to say this, like, frankly, my friends, you would be the worst real estate agent on the planet if between now and the end of the year, when you go do 30 different Christmas, holiday, Thanksgiving, Friendsgiving, Hanukkah, and everything else, and you didn't say, Matt, I would be, listen, it's good to see you, buddy. I got to say, I'd be the worst real estate agent on the planet if I didn't ask you, have you guys had any thoughts of selling between now and the end of the year? And now, Matt, I'm happily married for 32 years. My wife and I are polar opposites. I shop fast. She shops slow. So I usually don't go with her because I walk in the store and I immediately look for a salesperson that's going to help. My wife says, no, I'm just looking. You with me? So we're very different, but that's why I married her 3 times and I love her to death. So we walk through the store and someone goes, hi, can I help you? She, no, I'm just looking. I'm like, no, you're here for a black dress that you need for the function that we're going to tomorrow. Like, come on, help us get a black dress. I tell you that story because when you say to your friends, I would be the worst real estate agent on the planet. If I didn't say to you, have you guys had any thoughts of selling in 26 or beyond? You just shut up. They're all going to say the same thing. No. It's no different from my wife. No, I'm just looking. No, I'm just looking around. That's all they're doing. And if you take that, you are a knucklehead. Instead, so Matt, say no. So, hey, Matt, oh man, so good to see you at the party. Everything's great. How are the kids? What's going on? How's biz? Blah, blah, blah. So hey, Matt, before I go, brother, I'd be the worst real estate agent on the planet if I didn't ask you, have you guys had any thoughts of selling in 26 or beyond?
Oh, in this market? No way.
No? Wait, really?
Yeah,
really?
I can't afford to move.
Matt, hold on. You've had no thoughts of selling, or you want to sell and think you can't afford to move?
Fine. Who thought this was going to be my forever home? We were supposed to be here 5 years. It's been 22.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't start using that script between now and the end of the year, you're just missing such a big opportunity. And it sets me up for this. Ready? Everybody write down this number. Write down 1-800-624-9575. 1-800-624-9575. 1-800-624-9575. Ladies and gentlemen, I would be the worst business coach on the planet if I didn't say to you, if you need help with AI, if you need help with marketing, if you need help with your systems, that's what we do for our clients. If you call that number and you say to my team, I want Tom's craziest offer ever, which means basically you're getting the Black Friday sale before it happens. If you call my office with that number and say, I need help with AI, I need help with marketing, and I need help with consistency, which really you're saying I need help with systems. Yes, I'm talking about our coaching programs and all the things we do. I'd be the worst coach on the planet if I didn't say that. So Matt, I don't know how much time we have left, but I got to share 2 more campaigns.
We got to go quick, but I'm down if you're down.
All right. So everybody write this down. Check out a company called Live In Here. Live In Here. Live In Here. So Matt, I launched this. It's not my company, but I launched it because I did it for all my clients. Here's what I know. Zillow making the move that they made with Follow Up Boss should frighten everyone. Now, I'm not a Zillow hater. They're just Zillowing along, right? Yeah. But Zillow basically bought my buddy Dan's company, Follow Up Boss. And for the first 2 years, they're like, hey, like whatever, like your data is your data. They just changed their terms of service. Now they're saying your data is your data. With the exception, if they've ever been to Zillow and put in an email address, then it's our mutual data. And that scared about 140,000 real estate agents that are using Follow Up Boss. And I'm not advocating to switch CRMs. I knew this was coming. I knew it because Dan's a friend who sold him Follow Up Boss. I knew it was coming. It's a smart move. Zillow will market better to many of those agents' databases than those agents were, and they have all the analytics, which is what caused me to look at this company, Live In Here. Here's what they do. Number one, they clean up all your data, right? So if you have like Tom Ferry in an email, it's going to tell you Tom Ferry's address and a cell phone. That's important for agents. But the number 2 thing, and the thing I love the most about it, is you got all these inbound leads coming in from sold.com. Most of them are going to have an email attached to it. Now in real time, you're amending or appending, however you want to look at it, all the data with all the information you need. But the second part is the hook. They have all the predictive analytics. So across 1,000 different metrics that they're paying attention to, every day you're being told who in your database is most likely to transact, which changes all of your marketing. Hey, Matt, let's get together for coffee. Hey, Deanna. Now you can't say, hi, Deanna, I have this software. And what it did is it told me that you're most likely to transact. So how's your marriage? Like, don't do that. Yeah. But you use the predictive analytics to take a 34,000 or a 1,200 person database and now get it to, these are the 8 I need to get really close to this month. And these are the 12 I need to get close to next month, to narrow your focus. You market to everybody, but you get really intentional about those people. So that's one. The other one, and I know we talked about it, Matt, is the silver tsunami. So the data said that 6% of all, let's call it like late stage boomers and the, I forget what they're called, like the oldest people in the US. That sounds horrible, but whatever that category, it's about like 50 million people that own houses are going to put their home on the market. And why this matters to the listener, and I say this with the most respect, but it will be polarizing for some. The reason why I believe you should go to your title exec and say, show me every house that's 2 stories or more where they have no mortgage and the silent generation. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. Show me every house 2 stories or more with no mortgage, or they live there for 30 or 40 years. What you need to understand is their agent, the agent that sold that house, is dead. They're not living anymore. So you need to adopt them. It's the Silver Tsunami campaign. And all you have to do is play with this headline. Put this headline into Grok or ChatGPT or Perplexity. The headline goes like this. If you've ever said to yourself, most of these rooms just sit empty these days, it might be time to downsize. If you've ever said to yourself, we haven't been on the 2nd floor in a while, it might be time to downsize. Once you get that theme going, if you've ever said to yourself, problem that they would have, the maintenance is too expensive on this home, the insurance is costing us too much money, we don't have enough income coming in to afford this. If you've had yourself, it'd be nice to be closer to our grandkids, it might be time to downside. You could literally take 8 or 10 variations of that, and you could begin demo farming versus geo farming to a group that guaranteed is going to transact, and they currently do not have an agent. You should be that agent. So that's my 4 crazy campaigns, Matt. I don't know if that helped or hurt.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Hey, knowing that we're running low on time, I would be the worst host on the planet if I didn't tee up for our friends on this call here that we also have an easy way for you to connect to Tom. I'm logged into our portal here. Yeah. Each of our agents, Tom, has a portal. We show them what we're doing in their markets, what kind of volume, what their performance looks like in there. By the way, you also mentioned earlier, update your profiles.
Yes.
We just redid our profile page. It's got way cooler stuff on it now. And if you haven't come into sold.com lately and made sure that we know your markets, that we know where you are and what you're doing, and updated your bio, etc., then there's no telling what opportunity you're missing in terms of opportunity with sold.com and our leads. But where I was really going with this was in our perks section of our site, Tom. We have B2B opportunities with our favorite players in this space. And in here, under our coaching section, is our friend Tom Ferry, where you've got a free coaching session. If you want to come through here and click on this in your portal, under perks, Tom Ferry, free consultation. Get in there and take advantage of that, will you please?
I appreciate that. Thank you, my friend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Last thing, I think, for today, with the last minute we've got, we promised a raffle. And maybe, Dee, why don't I tee that over to you, and you ought to maybe give them 2 minutes on what it is we're even raffling for those that don't even know.
Definitely. Yeah. So I wanted to kind of connect the dots a little bit because of what, Tom, you've been talking about. This is a profile of an agent who's in our network. This is a dashboard of the leads that we've given. So when you talk about getting in front of people, getting an audience, but also the wins and the losses, we track a lot of that. So if I'm telling the story of this agent, they've received 4,200 leads from us, and that's just from 2021, to put that 4,200 into perspective. They've had 42 listings come out of those leads that have come through. But as much as this is a punch in the gut to him and to us, based off of how our business is structured, 624 of the leads that we've given this agent went on to list with somebody else. And
makes me want to cry.
Right? We calculate it for them.
By the way,
$8.7 million in lost commissions.
Yeah, and by the way, we are a success-based referral model, so we all cry on this one, right?
Yes.
And by the way, this is a great agent. We should point out we're not poking on an agent by any stretch, but this is very common.
And I think that's where all your strategies, your tips, and everything that we'll share after this call are so important, because the fact of the matter is, am I saying that all 4,200 people that we gave to this agent are going to do something? No, but a large majority of them are. And you cannot just wait and say, what's the line that I hate? Like, call me if you decide to do something, right? Like that, is just nails on a chalkboard to me. You have to be proactive and use all of these tools. One thing that, Matt, you started out the call saying is, what we've tried to do from the beginning of sold.com is something beyond just lead generation. We want to invest in businesses by having amazing people on our webinars like Tom Ferry, but every single month we have a Tom Ferry coach that's on doing a session about what you guys can be doing to be better at your businesses, to keep you motivated. So attend all of those different webinars, because there is opportunity. Even when you're winning 42 listings and getting $731,000 in commissions from sold.com. And I'm going to, again, show behind the curtain a little bit. This agent has had make sure I'm not misreading that, 4,266% return on investment. That's not a typo. That is a true return on investment of just working the leads. But to your point of expireds, something else that sold.com does is we have people clicking on our site that are all top of funnel requesting home valuations. And there's a lot of different things: cash offers, home valuations, people shouting from the rooftop that they're looking to sell their home. But to the point of having conversations with people of, have you considered selling your home? Somebody who's requesting their house, although they might be leading with, I'm just curious, they're doing that for a reason. Their kids graduating high school in a year and they don't need those bigger rooms. They're starting to think about the fact that they haven't gone upstairs for a while, or those rooms have remained empty for a while. These are the people you want to get in front of. These are the people you want mailers out in front of, because they are your target audience. So with that, our raffle is to get a year of being able to feature yourself in a zip code. And so I'll briefly talk about what that means. Is when you guys have your profile with us, you're able to add your zip codes onto your account and say, I want to work in the zip code 75209. That's one of my big markets. And you can add as many zip codes as you want to, and you can connect your MLS to show us all the areas that you've sold your houses in. But how we give out all those leads is based off of how you're placed in our zip code, based off of our algorithm. So our algorithm is going to say, tell me everybody who's converting our leads, because we want to give you more. Tell me everybody who's closing a lot of transactions, regardless of if they've done it with sold.com, because we want to give you more. But what you get by featuring yourself in a zip code is, who cares about algorithm? If you are, and I'm not trying to call anybody out, but if you're Chris and potentially newer to the business, Chris can feature himself and come up to the top and say, you know what, I haven't closed anything yet, but it's because I haven't received the opportunity to. So give me every single appointment that sold.com gets first, and I'm going to close those people. So what we are going to raffle off today is the opportunity to win featuring yourself in a zip code for an entire year for free. And what that will do is it'll make it so that you have priority access to every single appointment that our team sets for you. But it also is going to give you the full contact details for every single consumer who comes to our site in that specific zip code. We also, before I give that raffle, are running a promo. And so if you aren't the one lucky winner on the call, we are going to give you the opportunity, or you have the opportunity, I should say, to sponsor the zip code and feature yourself. And we are doing a special promo rate for $600 a year, which is typically about a $1,200 a year as a standard pricing. For $600 a year, you can buy into that opportunity. And so if you want to get that promo, you can click on Get Promo. A member of our team will call back, and we have full visibility into how many leads are distributed in all of those areas. We can show you what areas are getting the most amount of leads. We can tell you what areas are having the highest home prices. So we can tell you exactly how to target. And again, these are sellers. And the good opportunity with sellers is a good majority of these people are also going to be buying a home.
Hey,
So
can I freak Tom out real quick on that?
Yeah, please.
So here we've got the promo, right? You can feature yourself. Do you want to know what the average cost per seller lead is that our featured agents are winning?
Yeah, tell me.
They are paying on average $4 per seller lead when they sponsor themselves in a zip code. Is there anywhere on the planet where you can buy $4 leads for seller leads that, by the way, we're also calling and helping setting up appointments for you to get in the door?
The answer is no. And even as you saw there with that agent, 4,200 with 42 listings, it's 1% conversion with everyone out there's average sales price. This is just one of those like no-brainers. It's not going to be, don't take this personally, Matt. It may not be the lead source.
Yeah.
But this is a beautiful, again, you need to have 6 supplemental lead pillar to make sure you're never going through those droughts of no transactions.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you. All right, Dee, sorry.
No, 100%. And it's a great call out, because those cost per leads, I have a background with Zillow, and I can tell you cost per leads for Zillow were $500 to $750 cost per lead.
Bingo. Bingo.
So how do you get into the raffle? So 2 things. 1, if you inquire about sponsoring a zip code, that will automatically get you entered in the raffle. But the thing that will do this live raffle is the poll that I just popped up. So with this poll, and you may have to go into where you see your chat widget on the right side of your screen, there's a polls queue. And let me see if I can slide this out. I don't know if I can. If you answer the question, it'll automatically enter you in the raffle. You can say, I'm not interested, right? You can say, nope, I have absolutely no interest in ever featuring a zip code here at all. And it will still put you into the raffle to win one. But all you have to do is just answer the question. And I'm going to give that 30 seconds. So act quickly to answer those polls. I can see a lot of people not interacting with the poll. So definitely do. It's a free zip code that you guys are going to win. And we are going to do that live raffle here on the call. So let's see.
While we're giving them their last 20 seconds, this is my chance to formally thank Tom for being here. Tom, always a pleasure, my friend. You can see the audience, 900 people on here, plus anxious for some deliverables that we will package up and send on. So we'll coordinate with you after this to make sure we've got all that, as well as this call recording. But this has been fantastic.
I'm literally cleaning it up and getting ready to send it over to Alex, my guy, so he can send it to you ASAP.
Love it.
Perfect.
Love it.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you
this
all.
is amazing. And I think at the end of the day, guys, like, no matter where you live in the country, do not take your foot off the pedal right now. Keep your foot on the pedal, put your head down, do the work, because what I've always loved about sales of any industry is, in theory, the harder you work, the more money that you make. And if at the end of the day, you're not where you want to be, it takes time, right? But ask yourself, are there things that you should be doing? Because there's so many things that we know as people that like we should be doing, but we make excuses as to why we're not. Yes. And Tom just laid out exactly what it is that you need to do. So there is no more excuses. Plus, ChatGPT takes all the thinking out of it. Go have a conversation with ChatGPT or whatever AI tool of choice you use of, I don't feel motivated and I want to sell a house this year. Tell me the things I should be doing. There's literally no excuse to not be successful in 2026, especially after hearing this call.
All right, let's pull the trigger. We got to do it.
I'm going to close out the raffle or the piece, and I'm going to start the lottery spin, and it will have everyone's name come up here. It's going to go backwards and make it really exciting. All right, Rita Lewis, you are our winner. I will be contacting you after, but you have just won 1 free year of featuring yourself in a zip code. Congratulations, Rita. Thank you for staying on, participating. And like I said, I will get in contact with you so that we can get your zip code added. But like you said, Matt, thank you so much to both of you guys for being on this call. Such great information to basically help people end their year right and really get their 2026 off to a really good start. So we'll get all those slides out to you. And guys, anything else before I end this webinar for everybody?
Hey, I would just remind everybody, every day you don't make your phone calls and market, you push your future income away from you. That's a bad decision. I'd be the worst real estate agent on the planet if I didn't ask you, hey, you had any thoughts of selling? Like, you need to do that a lot between now and the end of the year, and you're going to find a lot of opportunities. And just in closing, call my office. If we can help you, let us know. That's a very special thing, and it's just for today. Not meaning to be salesy, but why give it away for less when you don't have to? So
100%. I will recirculate the phone number, Tom, that you shared so that everybody has it at the top of their email, including this recording. And then same thing is, if you did click to request information about sponsoring a zip code with this promo, look out for a call from 949. But thank you both. Matt, anything else before I let everybody sign off?
Nope. Tom's got the last word. Thank you, Tom.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks,
I'm sending you the deck right now, Deanna. Everybody.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks,
Take care,
everybody.
guys. Happy holidays.
Bye.
Go.